Hello everyone, Alec DeLorean here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Now in today's video, we're going to have the best build for Scarlet Witch in Marvel's Mystic Mayhem. So we're going to go through all of the artifacts, the highlights, and anything in between. But before we get into it, if you would like to join the Discord, the link is in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, this content, and all things Marvel related, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the video. Alright, so the best build for Scarlet Witch. So we're going to go through some of the contents, but before I go into anything, shout out to Marvel's, mysticmayhem.gg. I get a lot of the information from this. They're a very good website that holds a lot of data for all of the characters, all of the highlights and all of the artifacts, as well as the tier list for most used characters in all of the higher level content of the game. So be sure to go use that to your will's content. But in terms of the contents of this video, we're going to go for all of the best artifacts, highlights, stats, the best Soul Saga route, discussing skills, discussing passives, and then finally the best team synergies. So without further ado, let's go with the best artifacts. So there are 3 best artifacts for Scarlet Witch. For me personally, there's 2 very outstanding ones because Scarlet Witch is very much all in on crit, right? So it's all about crit rate and crit damage. 2 of them here. Hand Shuriken increases the wearer's crit rate by 12%. Absolutely yes, 100% throw that straight on. Midnight Gun increases the wearer's crit damage by 18%. Boom. Exactly what you want. Crit rate and crit damage. These are the, I think, are the 2 best artifacts for Scarlet Witch without a doubt. If you don't have either of them, or if you don't have one of these, then Unstable Molecules is another second best, as that increases the wearer's attack by 10%, which is always nice on any character anyway. But for Scarlet Witch specifically, it's all about crit rate and damage, so Hand Shuriken and Midnight Gun are what you want. Next is the best highlights. So for highlights, Fighters 1 is a very good one, because what this one does is the wearer's attack increases by 20%, which is fantastic, but then also the crit rate increases by 16% if the HP is above 80%. Now this is really good at the very beginning of the match because you haven't taken any damage, or if you're against enemies that are only melee, there's no AoE damage or anything, so you're always going to be around 100%. Plus, if you have any supports with you who are going to heal you to full health, bang, heal you to full health, you get that extra 16% crit rate, and then you do all of your abilities and it's just chef's kiss. Fighters 1 is very good, but obviously it's a legendary, so it'll be hard to come by. The next best ones are Great Minds and also Raise like the Phoenix. Great Minds, firstly, the wearer's crit rate is increased by 20% as a base stat, which is absolutely fantastic. If the wearer's skill costs 3 or more mana, they deal 10% more damage. So Chaos, one of her abilities, her damage ability is costs free, so this goes really well. And then Raise Like a Phoenix is the wearer's crit rate is increased by 20%, which is the same as Great Minds, and then for each allied character of a different class on the field, the wearer's attack is increased by 2%. Great Minds is definitely a better option because of her damage. Her damage skill, it costs free, so you're going to be getting extra 10% damage overall, whereas with the attack you might be only getting 2 or 4% increased attack, which I think the 10% damage is more useful here. So Great Minds is definitely second best after Fighters 1. But then after all this, if you don't have any purples or any legendaries, Make a Dream is your best bet, because all it does is the wearer's crit rate is increased by 16% stat. So throw this one on, level it up, and you're good to go until you find one of the others. Next is the stats. Like I said earlier, crit rate is all about Scarlet Witch, and Scarlet Witch is all about crit rate. They go hand in hand together, so the main thing you want to be looking out for in terms of stats is definitely crit rate and crit damage. It's a running theme for Scarlet Witch, and then after that is special damage, because abilities are special damage, right? And then attack percent is the last one if you ever get to that point. So overall, crit rate, crit damage, and special damage is the top 3 for you. And then the best Soul Saga route is kind of a fun one, because you're going straight into Heart 1 and then straight into Mind 1, and then you finish off Heart and then you finish off Mind. Now there's all of them are very good, except one is just the ultimate regeneration, I'm pretty sure, and I think that's either Heart 2 or Mind 2. I'm pretty sure it's Mind 2, so that's not as necessary. So definitely putting that one towards the end is definitely better. So Heart 1 and Mind 1, get that done, and then move into Heart, and then Mind at the end, and then finish with Soul. So that's the best Soul Saga route. Next is her skills. So the first one is Chaos Blades, which is her damage skill. This is what I was on about earlier, being costs 3. What this one does is deal special damage to an enemy and grants 1 mana upon defeating them. Now, we're not too bothered about the 1 mana upon defeating them because a lot of the times we're using Scarlet Witch for boss fights only, really. When it comes to campaigns, I'm probably more generally going to lean towards AoE because a lot of times there's more than one enemy in campaign missions, like Memento or Story or anything like that. But for the Nightmare, Eye of Nightmare and the Armor boss fights, then definitely it doesn't really matter. So this is just straight up special damage all out for free mana. And then Call of Cthulhu is the next one, which is a buff. So in terms of synchronization, what you want to be doing is saving up 5, use her Call of Cthulhu ability first to buff herself, and then use Chaos Blades on top of that, because what Call of Cthulhu does is you gain the rewrite reality for 10 seconds. What this one does is you gain extra crit rate, ignoring passive ability limitations. So you get an extra boost of crit rate, so you're more likely going to crit with this ability. Pop that off and you're going to do insane damage. So Scarlet Witch is really fun just to combine all your abilities and ultimates. And then her ultimate is Reality Warp. Deals special damage to all enemies in the target area, deals more damage to the enemy in the center. So I used to forget about this about the very beginning, but put the enemy in the center. You can still do this with the bosses to get that maximum damage. So always put all the bosses and everyone in the middle. The AoE, the area of effect, isn't actually that large, so you're not going to be hitting a load of people, like for example compared to Iron Man or Thor, but still it's very, very good single target ability because it does absolutely insane damage. If you can pop off the buff and then use the Chaos Blades, then use Reality Warp, oh my god, you're going to absolutely kill every boss in the game in one shot. And then she has 4 passives. The first one is Altered Outcome. Crit damage increased by 1.5% for every 1% crit rate. Crit rate cannot exceed 50%. Now, this is what I was on about in terms of the limitations of her buff ability. It ignores the 50%. You can go higher than that. So you want to be building up your crit rate, because with the crit rate, you're automatically just going to get crit damage on top of that, and it doubles it up because it's 1.5% for every 1%. So this is a really, really fun passive. And the next one is Nexus of Never. Scarlet Witch's attack is increased by 15% in the Rewrite Reality status. So what that is the buff, the buff ability where you buff yourself before you use your abilities. What you do is when you're in that, you get 15% increased attack. And then next up is the second edition, which is Rewrite Reality lasts for 3 more seconds, which is always very nice. It's a fine passive. 3 more seconds can't hurt because you're just going to be dealing even more damage. And then lastly is Chaos Restored. If there is only one enemy within the range of Reality Warp, refund 100 ultimate energy. Now, obviously, you don't get this one until later on in the game once you're a higher level. But when you're doing the big boss fights and there's only one enemy, you're going to be getting your 100 ultimate energy every single time, which is really, really fun because you're going to be doing even more damage. The synchronizations on Scarlet Witch is endless, and Scarlet Witch is definitely one of, if not the most fun in the game. And then lastly, we have the best team synergies. She's really good with any support and tank, really, because she's doing all the damage. You're only going to be using her in single target stuff. So the best way I deal with it is I want her as the main DPS, and then the other 2 slots aren't for any damage. So if you want to go for a tank, you throw in Juggernaut, or you can throw in Hulk if you don't have Juggernaut. But what I'd run especially is Doctor Strange, Emma Frost, and Scarlet Witch in the Eye of Nightmare, and that is easily the best team in the game for that raid. Absolutely. Doctor Strange buffing Scarlet Witch, Emma Frost buffing Scarlet Witch, Scarlet Witch buffing Scarlet Witch. Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's just absolutely, she's OP. She's broken. She's meta. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw out nerfs later on. And there you go. There is the best build for Scarlet Witch. She is definitely insane. I love to play her. I cannot wait to level up higher and get everyone higher level just so that I can absolutely crack out an insane amount of damage in the content that we have for the game. But I won't keep it any longer though, so comment down below if you found this video useful or if there's anything that I missed from this video. But yeah, if you would like to join the Discord, the link is in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, this content, and all things Marvel related, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.